Early on when I first got here, it seemed like everybody was coming out of the woodwork and telling me about ghost stories.
Off in one of the far corners of New York State, nestled among the forested plains of the Finger Lakes region in the small town of Clyde, New York, standing out from the landscape of shops, churches, dive bars, and parks, a colossal 3-story, 43-room, 12,000 square foot mansion rests visible from the roadside. Having stood for over 150 years, and now serving as a popular bed and breakfast, the Erie Mansion, infamous for numerous gruesome legends about the decorated family that once called it home, may yet have one more scary story to tell.
Aaron Griswold was a prominent businessman in Clyde. Him and his father actually ran the first canal boat on the Erie Canal when it opened, and he just accumulated such wealth that he bought businesses and he owned the bank in town. And in 1858, him and his wife Hannah built the Erie Mansion.
Here's some theories about why I think ghost stories got going here.
There was about a 20-some year time period where 6 people died in the house. Back then, funeral homes, there was no such thing. Only in the big cities did they have funeral parlors. Out in the country, Clyde is considered kind of rural. And most of the funerals were held right in the house. People died in the house. They were laid out and the wakes were in the house. And the funerals were held in the house.
Erie had all male servants. She had a Japanese chef and a Chinese butler, and it was well known that they disliked each other immensely. They were seen chasing each other around the house with a knife one day.
When the family came back from a trip from the city, they found their cook dead in the middle of the kitchen floor. An obvious murder because her head was missing.
In a flophouse hotel a few months later, an evil-smelling parcel left in a luggage area became the property of the establishment. Upon opening it, they found the head of the Chinaman.
There have been several sightings of the cook dressed in her uniform in the kitchen.
Billy, the youngest Ely.
He was a World War I veteran, and after he was discharged, he didn't work. He didn't need to. His family had money. So he kind of turned into the 1920s playboy. He was a ladies' man. He would travel back and forth between New York City and Clyde. And he was one of the last family members to live in the house. He passed away shortly before his mother did, and he died of a heart attack.
Obituary said he died of a heart attack at age 35. But the townspeople have told me that he was implicated in the disappearance of numerous showgirls.
Though there's no evidence of it, it seemed to be that a lot of women that he was around during the time disappeared and were never seen again. They say that he buried the bodies both in Clyde and in New York City, and might be connected to the death of the cook.
And he hung himself before the authorities could get to him. So, a lot of the ghosts are about the ladies. After I first got here, I've had an experience. One night I was sound asleep in here, and I was laid out in front of the opening. There's only one way in and one way out of this thing. And I felt something coming in, feeling it was like pressure on the bed. Something crawling in bed with me, coming from that area. It felt like a gal crawling into bed with you.
Right.
But then I realized, wait a minute, there's nobody here. If they were here, they would have had to come through a solid. to get in.
I was in the honeymoon suite and I was cleaning because he had a guest. He had left to go to the store to buy some stuff, so I was here all alone. He likes things just like a certain way, so I was confused about where I should put something in the room, so I wanted to actually ask him how he wanted it. I heard footsteps coming up the main set of stairs, the wooden stairs, so I assumed he had been home from the store. So I walked out and I'm like, Mark! And nobody answered. So then I called Mark on his cell phone and he was still gone. He had not been at the house or at the mansion at all. I know I heard footsteps, so those footsteps were something, so it kind of made me freak out a little bit.
After the family sold it in 1950, it changed hands several times. It became low-income housing.
There was a lady that lived next door that used to live in this room, and she said she saw a lady in white. And then there was another lady, a different generation. She lived here in this room also. And she said she saw an apparition lady in white. So here we have these two people that aren't talking to each other, saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It became a veterans home.
And they would go through and they'd tell me, so-and-so died here, and so-and-so died here, and so-and-so died upstairs. But this lady, she saw an apparition hanging in the basement.
And then in 2006, it became abandoned. 2008, the current owner, Mark, purchased it and renovated it to, the beautiful mansion that it is today. Now it's a bed and breakfast.
The suites all have kitchens, living rooms, and they're all theme suites. The best compliment I got was from a retired interior decorator. He wanted to know who did this place for me. And I told him I did, and he said, with no formal training, no, every curtain, everything, I did myself. This lady went on a tour with me, and we were walking into the honeymoon suite one day, and I hear this, and I turn around to ask those girls if they heard that also, but all I saw was elbows and running down the stairs all the way down. A lot of people have stories, but 10% of them will actually write something down for you.
Right.
Just the one that gets me the most of the ghost stories is the worker when they were doing the renovations. Although he never really said what happened, he refused to work in the building by himself. And I can only imagine what you had to have witnessed or experienced to not go in a building during the day by yourself. What actually happened to him, and to this day, he doesn't talk about it.
This is a eyewitness account. Dear Erie Mansion Bed and Breakfast. I lived in the Erie Mansion from about 2001 to 2002. One of my main reasons for leaving is the place is haunted. Some things to know. Ghost attacks, seeing outlines of people, light bulbs burning out, magnetic compasses going round and round, sleeping covers rising up. And then he signed it. But I know he said he moved to New Mexico to get away from the hauntings. This is a B&B guest, and I called him a couple different times, and it just says, thanks, we had to leave.
So what did we learn in our tour of the mansion? Aside from Mark's incredible hospitality, each room's striking interior decoration, and the existence of not one but multiple secret doors and passageways leading to hidden spaces throughout the building, it is clear the mansion's past still haunts its halls today. Whether or not it will continue to do so in the future, we cannot say. That determination will be up to you, dear viewer, should you find yourself brave enough to spend a night at the Erie Mansion.